Martin Luther King, but I really don't.
All right. Hi, everybody. Should we start with questions or homeworks? Again, yep. At this point, Sunday was the first problem, or first homework set was due, right? 1 through 4. It should have been in your OneNote. If I found it this morning when I was looking, I would have marked it in. If I didn't see it, I probably just left it as 0 missing. You have a week to kind of fix that if it was, oops, there's a syncing issue, or oops, I forgot to put it there, or oops, I forgot to do it, or oops, other issue. You have a week to kind of fix that if it was marked missing before late penalties start cropping up. And so far for this Sunday, we've assigned 5 through 14. So at this point, questions from anything 1 through 14? Any takers on this?
We have to do this for homework.
So 1 through 4 what was due on Sunday. 5 through 14 is what has been assigned for next Sunday already. I'm just stopping or starting class, giving you the option to ask questions about homework. There are any to this point.
Do you do 4?
Can I do 4? Sure. So I would start by drawing and labeling a picture. So W, X, Y are my angles. That's my triangle name. So the side opposite my angle W should be side W. The side opposite angle X should be side X. The side opposite angle Y should be side Y. And I'm going to add in my givens. So angle W is 56.4 degrees. And I can tell it's talking about an angle because there's a degree symbol on it. Angle X is 12.7 degrees. And side X is 29. So now I'm going to look at what type of triangle situation I have. So I notice that my side that's given isn't between my two angles. So this is my angle side situation. So to handle this, I'm just going to need to do the law of sines. Okay with that? So the things I'm going to need to come up with, I'm going to need angle Y. I'm going to need side Y. I'm going to need side W. So the first thing I'm going to find, because I have two angles, is always going to be the third one, because that's really easy to come up with. So I can just do 180 minus the other two angles. Minus, was that 56.2.4, and then 12.7. Is that right?
Yeah.
So 110.9. And I'm just going to add them in as I go. Okay. Now to get the next side length, it doesn't matter which one I do next. I'm just going to go in the order that I wrote them though. So I'm going to find side Y next. So I need to look and see what pair of side angle do I have both. And that'd be X, right? I have angle X and side X. That's the only pair that I have both of them. So I'm going to start by writing my law of sines as sine of angle x over side x equals, and now I'm doing side y, so I'm going to have sine of angle y, which I just calculated, over side y. That type of an equation is called a proportion, where I have one fraction equal to another. The way we solve a proportion is to cross multiply. So I'll do like one of those. So I'm going to have y times sine 12.7 equals 29 times sine of 110.9. And then to get the y by itself, I'm just going to divide by sine 12.7. So far, so good. Calculator time. So 29 times sine of 110.9 divided by sine 12.7. So 123.2 sounds good to me. And notice that's not an angle there. That's a side length, so it doesn't get a degree sign. And then to find side W, I'm going to repeat. I'm going to basically do the exact same process. So sine x over x equals sine W over W. Again, we'll cross multiply. And then divide. And then again, we'll go back to here. 29 times sine 56.4 divided by sine 12.7. So 109.9, let's say. And that should do it.
Yeah, I was just a little bit confused when I was trying to find W. I thought we had to switch, like, you know how we have to find the letter that has both the side and the angle. I thought we had to switch to a different one, but
you could use, I mean, you have now side y and angle y, so you could do y over y if you wanted to. I would not, because if this number somehow I got the wrong answer for,
then
I'm guaranteed to get the wrong answer for the other. I'm pretty confident I can copy down the givens.
Yeah.
So I like to use the givens as much as I can.
I get it.
But it's not wrong to do sine y over y equals sine w over w. You could do that. You have all the information you need to do that. All right. On to the new stuff for today. What do you guys say? More questions on homework? Are we good? You guys seemed uninterested when I gave you the option before, which is fine. Either you haven't gotten there yet or you've done it and you're like, I feel pretty comfortable with what's going on, which is fine. So we're going to look at the side, 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 and the side angle side cases. So this will be the last topic that would be included on any homework quiz. So you might be expecting one of those happening sometime this week. So it'd be covering the law of sines and law of cosines. A formulas would be given to you. So just to backtrack for a moment, in 7.1, we built this flow chart, right? So we've gone ahead and done these three cases on how to deal with that. We're now going down this branch for side, angle, side, and side, side, side. Notice that the side, side, side requires an extra check. And unlike the previous ones, the previous problems, we order is going to make a little bit of a difference here. Okay, so let's just kind of dive into some examples. Because we wrote down the law of cosines already, right? Let's just write it anyways. So I'm going to rewrite it. So again, this is the formula for the law of cosines. Slide this up a little bit. My first step is going to be draw and label a picture so I can figure out what situation I'm working in, because just from looking at this, I have two sides and an angle. So I don't know if this is side, angle, side, or side, side, side. So again, I'm going to write in my angle names, and then I name the side opposite the angle with the same letter. I'll go right in my givens. So far, so good. I notice that the arms of my angle, of my 34-degree angle, are the two given sides. So what situation is this? Side, angle, side. And that tells me I need to be using the law of cosines. So if I have a side, angle, side situation, the first thing I'm going to solve for is always the missing side. Let's the only thing I have enough information to solve for. I have to do that one first. So that's the formula I'm using. So I'm just going to plug in now. Any questions on how I plugged into that formula? Notice that everything now is on one side, so I'm just going to go to my calculator and type this in all into one line. Oh, was it 34, I think? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just typed it into my calculator. I'm going to press enter. So I have about 90.4. Now, what have I found here? A squared. What am I looking for, though? A. What do I need to do? Okay. Pull this boy back up. Square root my answer. I got about 9.51. Are you okay with what I did there?
Did you try and find the angles inside too, or you just find it?
You said that really quietly and I couldn't really hear.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Do you try and find the angles inside too?
Yes. We're going to solve the whole triangle. Yep. Is everybody so far so good? So now, what do we have left to find? Angle B and angle C. Now, previous to this, the order in which I found things did not matter. Here it does. Here the order matters. Because what I want to avoid is accidentally stumbling into one of these ambiguous case situations where I end up with using side-side angle and having to be careful about that. The order that I'm going to give you to do these problems, the side angle side and the side side, is the order to avoid having to worry about the side angle situation. Because we just got done doing that and that was a mess, right? None of us want to have to do that any more than we really have to, correct? Okay. Just double check, make sure on my notes. We find the smaller of the two remaining angles next. We guarantee that the side angle situation we're running into will not result in an ambiguous case. Is everybody okay with that? So if I look between B and C, which one is going to be the smaller of the two angles?
B,
Great. How did you know that?
because it has a smaller side.
Because the side opposite B is 14, the side opposite C is 17, 14 is less than 17, so angle B should be less than angle C. To find angle B, I'm just going to do a law of sines now. So I'm going to say I have side A, or sine A over A equals sine B over B. Oops. 14. Looks just like kind of the end or the first step in the SSA case, right? We'll cross multiply. What do I do next? Divide by 9.51, yeah. Okay. And then we still have that sine wrapped around angle B. How do I get rid of that?
Sine inverse.
Sine inverse. That is correct.
Wait, why'd you do the sine inverse?
To cancel that out. So I'm doing like sine inverse to both sides. Because then that like cancels that out. So whenever you're solving for an angle, you're going to need an inverse trig. Okay? So that's now calculator time. 14 sine 34 for my answer. So 14 times sine 30, oops, sine inverse of 14 times sine 34 divided by, yeah, that, I'm just going to do, oops, gosh dang it, pressed the wrong button. Sine inverse, 14 times sine 34 divided by answer. So I got 55.43-ish, or 44-ish, I should say. Oops. So far, so good. And then to find angle C is super easy because we have two of the three angles. So it's (180 minus 34 minus answer). So 90.56. Is that okay? This right here is the key though, right? Gotta remember that. Questions so far? It's good? Okay. Okay, so let's find or solve this triangle whose side lengths are 5, 8, and 10. First step is to draw and label a picture. And then add in our givens. So I want to remind you guys, when we went back and wrote our very first decision tree, we have to check for the number of triangles possible side, 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 because we can have 0 triangles or 1 triangle possible in a side, side, side situation. Well, obviously, this is side, 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 right? You probably knew that as soon as I wrote up the problem, because there was no angles in it. It's the easiest one to identify. If anybody gets that wrong, God help you. Somebody will. Who's going to do it? Nobody's admitting to it? We'll see. All right. So first thing we need to do is check if it's possible. Now the check is way easier than the number of triangles checked for side-side angles. Okay? So the check is simple. Just that leg plus leg is greater than hypotenuse. But you got to remember to do it. I will promise you this on the test. There will be at least one situation where I give you a side, side, side that's not possible. Okay? But the check is easy. Leg plus leg has to be greater than hypotenuse. How do I know between 5, 8, and 10 which one is hypotenuse? 10. Why is it 10?
Because the hypotenuse is the one slated.
Yeah, just the biggest number is hypotenuse, right? So is 5 plus 8 greater than 10? You bet, Sean. Is this problem possible? Yes. So there's going to be one triangle. So far, so good? When we're done with these examples, we'll take that decision tree we had from before and try to extend it all the way out and include these extra little pieces on what we have to do, right? Yes?
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes. You're welcome. Combine this all together and get one decision tree and include some of these little sub pieces that we've just introduced. Okay. So, We have three angles to solve for, right? P, Q, and R. Guess what? Order matters. Again. Why does order matter? We want to avoid running into one of those ambiguous case SSA problems. If you follow the order that I'm going to give you, you avoid that problem case every single time. You don't have to think about it. Just go with the order that I tell you. You can forget about the possibility of an SSA popping up. If you don't follow the order that I'm giving to you, you can run into that and be like, why do my answers not make sense? It's probably what happened. Yes.
So we need to know how to do the long one for like the test.
Yes. Yes, you will have to be able to do a two triangle situation on the test. I promise. But it'll be like the homework where I tell you it's a two triangle situation. Okay? So I take that piece out of it. Okay. So the order for the SSS, instead of starting with the smallest angle first, we want to find the biggest angle first. So which angle is going to be the biggest angle? R. How did you know that?
I guess
Side R is the biggest side. Everybody's on board? So I'm going to set up my law of cosines. So I'm going to say that R squared is equal to P squared plus Q squared minus 2PQ times cosine of angle R. So again, if you have trouble seeing how I did that, I basically just did like I kind of did that and then just used my standard formula, right? Or just relabeled it. Is that okay? With A, B's, and C's? If you can't see it, if you get it, it's like, oh yeah, it's just like, you know, the side and the angle, the side you're solving for, and the angle have to be paired together, and then the other two sides just fill in the other stuff. That's all that's happening there with the formula. So let's fill in. Everybody look good as to how I filled this in? Okay. The number one place where students make mistakes on this problem, even when they're following the order, is they screw up the order of operations here. Is the number one thing that students will do is they'll type that all into the calculator and make that the coefficient for cosine R. What's the problem with that? The 5 squared and the 8 squared aren't attached to cosine R. Right? Those are separate values. So they have to be like taken apart separately. Now, 10 squared minus 5 squared minus 8 squared is just going to be a number. I don't care what that number is right now. I'm just going to write it down as like this, because it's all going to go in my calculator anyway. And rather than having to go to my calculator a bunch of times and getting a bunch of different numbers, I'm just going to leave it. Is everybody okay here? Now I'm going to divide by -2, 5, or -2 times 5 times 8. Second most common mistake students make if they get through that first step is they drop the negative sign here. And again, I know that -2 times 5 times 8 is just like -80 or whatever, but I'm just going to leave it all as a number. Or like without multiplying it out, because it's just going to go in my calculator anyway. Like, why go through the extra aggravation? Now, how do I get rid of that cosine out front of r? Yeah, I use cosine inverse. And now it's calculator time. So cosine inverse. Now, I'm going to use the fraction command on my calculator, so I don't have to worry about a bunch of parentheses. So I can do alpha y equals and pick option 1. That's what it's going to look like into my calculator. Okay. Emma, Rocco, Sebastian, you know how to get that horizontal fraction bar on your calculator like that? Okay. I just checked. It's something we've hammered a bunch of times in here. I just want to make sure. So my answer there becomes 97.90. So far, so good. Okay, we have 2 angles remaining, P and Q. Guess what? Order matters. So this time we're going to find the smallest angle next. And we have enough to use the law of sines, so I'm going to do that. Because now I have side R and angle R, right? So sine of angle R over side R equals sine of angle P over side P. Again, I picked the smaller of the two angles. Same as kind of before. Now this is getting pretty standard. We cross multiply. 10 times sine of angle P equals 5 times sine of 97.9. I divide both sides by 10 and take sine inverse of both sides. I'm going to combine those two steps. Does anybody object? I'm going to divide and do sine inverse on the same step. It's like the third time we've done this process here today. You guys see it? What I did? At this point, it's calculator time. Sine inverse, 5 times sine of that previous answer divided by 10. So I get 29.69. And then to find angle Q, that's the easy part because I have angles R and P, so I can just subtract. So 52.41. Bless you. That's it for my examples for law of cosines. That's kind of the gist of it. As long as you go in the right order, you're going to be okay. I want to do one little thing though. Notice to solve this, every time we solve a law of sines, we're going to have to do this every time we do a side situation, we're going to have to do the same algebra to solve the law of cosines for an angle, right? What if we take our law of cosines and we pre-solve it for the angle, so we can just like use that as another version of our law of cosines formula. We don't have to walk through all this dangerous algebra every single time. Right? That's kind of worth doing, don't you think? So what do we do first? We subtracted the b squared and c squared over. And you don't have to write any of this down until I get to the formula. The formula is really all the reason why we're doing this. Then we divided by the 2bc, or negative 2bc. Right? And then we're going to do cosine inverse of both sides. And the last thing that I like to do with this is this guy is begging to be forgotten, right? Like that's a drop negative sign waiting to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that into the numerator. So everything in the numerator just swaps signs. And there's, instead of having 3 minus signs in that problem, I'm just going to have 1 minus sign. It gives me less opportunity to forget a negative. So you can use this as an alternate law of cosines formula for that first step in the side, side, side situation. Might be something worth putting on your note card. New people, for every test, you guys get to make a note, like a half sheet of notes that you can use on the test. Put whatever you want on there. You have to turn it in on the review day. So, but then it's a hidden action on the test and you can use it on the test. Provided you take the test in class. If you're not here in class on the test day, no note card. You're excited about this?
I'm very excited about this.
Should make life considerably easier, right? Memorization, not a thing. Okay. The last thing that I want to do now is I want to consolidate some of these decision trees into one place. Okay? Okay. Everybody's okay? Now I'm going to steal this. Back here. Oh. Okay. Okay. I'm going to drop that onto there. Everybody okay? So just kind of connecting this all together. So if we're doing a side angle side situation, we use law of cosines. We find the side opposite the given angle first, and then the shorter angle. I shouldn't say shorter, that doesn't make any sense. Angles aren't long or short. Smaller angle next. Fitting it all on one sheet of paper is a nightmare. The side, side, side. So that's like the complete decision tree now for all the little things that we've done along the way. What do you think? Woof, right? But like, how nice is this though? It like covers all the situations we've talked about. It's all compacted onto one place. Covers 3 lessons worth of stuff. But like, boy howdy, I love having something like this that just walks me through like, okay, we had all these different situations that come up and we do different things in different situations. How do I remember which one is which? Organize it. Like in one place, like a flow chart that tells you if it's this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this. And that's one. Bless you. You're welcome. All right, folks. What do you think? How are you feeling? Each of the individual problems on their own, not that bad, right? There's one situation that's kind of tough to handle, and that's the 2-triangle SSA case. But even that, once you've gotten the hang of it, isn't too bad. So for this Sunday, adding on to 14 or 5 through 14, you should be doing 15 to 22 as well. So we're going to add on to Sunday's problem set, 15 to 22. So 15 through 22 are all the different cases jumbled together, all 5 of them mixed up. So you could have angle, angle, side. You could have angle, side, angle. You could have side, side, angle. You could have side, angle, side. You could have side, side, side. You can have cases where there's nothing to do because 0 triangles are possible. You could have 2 triangles are possible. It's all jumbled up in there and you don't know what's going to happen. So the first step, draw and label that picture. Figure out what case you're in. Figure out if that case is, what's going on for that case. If it's the SSA or SSS case, is how many triangles do I got? Once you know that, then start solving. Like, take your time, make sure you understand what's going on and what part of the flow chart you're working through. That's gotta be your first step. Okay, folks? Of course. I'm done talking here at this point. Yes.
Could you help me out with my class notebook?
Sure. Absolutely. Everybody happy?
Go back to
The flow chart?
but like the thing before the flow chart. Like the picture. Yeah.
This guy? Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm just gonna stop the recording and then I'll